I only got a couple of seconds, but look, there's one of those anti-chemtrail things. It's like it's broken the cloud up. You really can't stop with filming more.
Well, I just got carried away by my scientific curiosity, so I could try a small personality reversal.
Small? God, what an understatement. I hope you never get into nuclear physics. You convinced yourself the Big Bang was nothing but a ping pong game.
The effect was temporary if you came to know her.
No, thanks.
So I'm just editing our video. I do hope I don't upset anyone with this video. I do hope I leave a lot of questions. Not so much in my comments if you don't wish to, but questions for yourself. Maybe a little bit long and a little bit serious for some people, and for that I apologise, but I can be quite a serious chap, in case you don't know. I do have my fun side, of course, and I run out of memory. There is a little bit more I was filming at the same sort of time. It's more to do with the numbers, which I'll do in a second video, and a small speech about something else. But yeah, this is primarily about the pedophile problem, rampant at the moment. So weird happenings, for me at least. I do hope you're all well. Sorry I've not been around too much this week. I might not get back to anyone over the weekend either, but please feel free to leave questions in the bottom if you don't understand what I'm trying to say. I'm not sure I quite am in many ways. It's a difficult topic, all of it. Now, I know there was something else I wanted to say, but I can't find what it was, but I did find something else along the way. Now the first one is this one, which is the last thing I found. Now in part of the story, my little speech, I'm talking about where all the survivors are. Well, apparently, yesterday, 368 gymnasts alleged sexual assault, sexual abuse. But it was this one I wanted to touch on. Let me just shrink this down a little bit. I found this on George Greek Trucker. This one's a funny one, but I'll do a better one.
It's time. Oh my god, I'm so fucking baked like yesterday, and wait. No.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Wait. My grinder. Please, 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 let there be some wind. Come on, baby. Don't me down, don't me down.
Sorry, I should have added that one. Let me go and find it. Okay, here it is. Now, I'm just going to press play, alright? Do you know what this says to me? I'm surprised this ain't got a little ribbon. And you can go and check out Spudgy Pang and see what he says about the ribbons. The ribbons psyop. And just before we go into this one, let's go back. Let's have a quick look at Russian vids. And he talks here about this man who loses his snake, and how so obviously upset this man is about losing his snake. Do you understand? And there are people making videos about losing their snakes. Do you understand? And yet the videos of survivors for Jimmy Saville and other stuff, Jimmy Saville and his survivors is nowhere to be found.
What I have to say before you go.
I think I've heard enough.
With no background knowledge of psychology and without the benefit of my written notes, you could be way off the mark. Don't you realise
I
that?
don't need a psychology degree to hear you say you used hypnosis on Meg, obviously without her knowledge or anyone else's.
Anne, can't you understand the scientific importance of my work? Can't you see what I'm trying to achieve?
I know what you...
Sometimes there's reasons for the interruptions and sometimes there's not. So, Russian vids, Duping Delight, man loses snake. And he makes a video and he looks extremely upset. People lose children, brothers and sisters, blah blah blah. And we all know now that there's a lot of them do not look too upset. For my mind, if I'm a survivor, this is not what I want to do. I'm not saying this is wrong or this is lies or this is not true, or that there are people who are survivors of abuse that do not want to do it this way, but this is not for me. This is not how it should be done. This is a Macmillan Cancer Research advert.
All I want is justice, and all I get is cover up after cover up after cover up.
Imagine if I was your child. How would you feel knowing what the state did to me?
Maybe it's just a really poor advert, I don't know. But this is not how I would do it. To be honest, Snake Man is not how I would do it. You understand? I would not do what this man does if my 6-year-old had died the day before. No way would I be able to stand up and speak. If my dog died, I might be like this man. And I didn't know if I would post a video. A year ago I would have said definitely not. Now, these days I'm not so sure. But where are all the survivors? And why are they all being provided for us? What is this? Camera crews, parties, clapping and what you're clapping and cheering. Might have sung well, but isn't that just a creepy Macmillan advert? Look, you know, I don't know, maybe the track's free. He's got some thumbs up and stuff. There's just been some very odd things going on this week, okay? And to tie in finally all this with the numbers, this little channel here I came across yesterday, Reality Calls. 35,000 subs almost. This young lady has been around, so it says, 6 months. We shall add in her oldest. Pizzagate, 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 Pizzagate. She's been on a Hagman report or something. Her first one. Does IQ matter? Someone's taking the piss out of someone, I think. I don't understand it. That was 6 months ago. Next video was 1 month ago. 1 month ago. And her newest videos, 1 day ago, already 10,000 views, 20,000 views, 14,000 views, 106,000 views, 67,000 views, 58,000, 58,000, 23,000, 45,000, 37,000, 37,000. Now look, I know in this little corner of the YouTube we're not the best video makers. This young lady is not good enough to have 5,000 subscribers, in my opinion. She has her own website. Donate, 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 donate while we talk about fake news and Pizzagate. And it's not that I disagree with what she's saying. Excuse my son. I hope he cheers you all up a little bit. But there is something wrong with it all. And I'll be fucked if I want to do it alone. I felt all looking at this stuff alone. You don't have to believe me whether I said it first or not, and it's not about getting credit. That's not what I'm here for. When I keep saying this, people are missing the point, and it's not always about other people saying what I've said. Other people are copying each other, coming up with similar ideas, and there's a reason for it. Just listen to Dan for a second.
Keep their overall structure intact. They'll gladly lose a few minions to keep that control grid. There's one story, one truth out there that takes down the whole system, and they will scream fake news. You notice they don't have flat earth on the fake news meme, because they don't want people mentioning it anymore, because all it's doing is getting people curious and having them look at it more, and it's spreading more. It's having the opposite effect, so they can't even fucking try to poo-poo it and clown on it anymore. They don't want to mention it. They'd rather put out this pedophilia psyop bullshit and get you focused on that, so that everybody doesn't wake up that they've lied about where we live our entire lives and for the generations of all our families.
If I'm doing this for anyone, I'm doing this for my nan. This might sound sentimental to some people, but my nan had a wall full of fucking religious memorabilia. She went to her grave believing in fairy tales. I cannot have this anymore. Dan mentions at the beginning of his video about scapegoats. This is what follows next is what I said 2 days ago to myself, and I've been umming and ahhing about saying this for years. For myself, the Jimmy Saville was one of the biggest fucking scapegoats to take our minds off of far more important things. Now, don't get me wrong, right? I'm not saying that abusing children is not important. It fucking is. Okay? But someone allowed him to do that for years so that at some point they could bring him down. It's possible. It's possible he was innocent and they just used him. But for myself, I think perhaps he was a bit of a dirty old perv and they just let him do it so that they could bring him down. And for 2-3 years, no one did anything but talk about Jimmy Saville, look into Jimmy Saville. Jimmy Saville was everything. And now it's going to be Pizzagate, Pizzagate, Pizzagate. Dan's right. People are not going to be talking about anything else for a while. And that is the point of it. The silence says it all. Why are they not mentioning Flat Earth? Why ain't anyone mentioning it? But everybody's got it on their lips. Everyone knows about all these conspiracies and things like that. Everybody knows them all, but nobody's doing anything about it yet. Everyone's still a bit too scared, a bit too nervous. For myself, Dan, and everybody else, Eon, Rory, all of you guys, Bubbles, keep making videos. This is what they are scared of. This is what they do not want people seeing. They do not want real people to be seen standing up and saying, I've had enough of the bullshit. Well, I've had enough of the bullshit. Right? Let's stand up and say, fuck it. I've had enough. Time to change shit. Right. People may not like what I'm going to say, but I don't know if I care. You know, Del, you just sat there and said, you have an open mind to anything. Well, you have an open mind to anything except emotions and speculation. I'm hearing these small contradictions from everybody. I'm not sure people are thinking straight at the minute. Lawrence Wright was on the other night saying that the only good thing that can come out of schools is English and maths. And yet, Lawrence, do you know where the idea for the globe came from? There were no pictures back then. They worked it out through mathematics. But mathematics and English are the only good things to come out of school. English is the tool that is being used to brainwash a small portion of the world. There is something very wrong at the moment, and no one can see it. Do you see this man here? His name is Johnny Rotten. He is known for swearing, being rude and spitting on people. He has been calling out a man, apparently, who did loads of charity work but was a paedophile. We're now being asked to take the word of a man who swears, who considers it fine to just go around doing your own thing, against a man who purportedly did nothing but raise money for charity. There are no videos on YouTube of Jimmy Saville survivors. I do not know the truth about Jimmy Saville, but all the information we have about that subject comes from newspapers, the mainstream media. And this man, Johnny fucking Rotten, who sells out for butter adverts.
Do I buy Country Life butter because it's British?
I saw an advert on TV the other day and I could have blown my top then like I'm struggling not to do now. It was a Barbie advert with their new H2O car. Big H, tiny 2, O, R, car. Whore car. I watched this film here, Jimmy Saville and the Ninth Circle, years ago now. I've tried looking for survivor videos of people, of the hundreds of people that man supposedly abused, and there's not one. People will go on Jeremy Kyle and talk about their fucking grandchildren stealing their fucking knickers, but there are no Jimmy Saville survivor videos. There is one from this morning. And there might be another one from the BBC. People have been fucked up and people are opening their mouths and just gobbing off. Maybe that's what I'm doing right now. Maybe it's about time people did it more. But people are contradicting themselves left, right and fucking centre. People sitting there talking about stuff they have no ideas what they're talking about. People sitting there want to talk about the globe, the flat earth, and yet they have no knowledge of this subject at all. Just the nonsense on the flashy videos they've been given. Just the nonsense on the flashy videos they've been given, and they think they know it all. All these people saying they've got open minds, and yet they're not willing to discuss ideas. There's so many people out here claiming to be truthers and say they've been here for a long time. And yet I don't know what's going on. People want to sit here and just talk about people. I'm having one of them days again, and I can't. Help me, Mark.
Just do it and not shout this morning. I've got a bit of a headache. Do you know what it does to your mind and your heart? Do you know how you feel inside after you start shouting? Just calm down. Well, it's Monday. Why am I even doing this? You said it was an art project, Chucky. Supposed to be you were sitting in your car shouting day after day. It's bloody Monday morning. It's just after 5. Getting on for 6 o'clock. It's dark outside. You're sitting in here contemplating how to do a video about Plato. Lived in ancient Greece. You're not in ancient. This isn't Athens. Ancient Athens. You're in Pantheon. You're in bloody Penge outside the Shell petrol garage. How are you gonna relate Plato to any? How has that got anything to do with anything?
I was listening to Jazz this morning or last night, and he was talking about memories. Penge is my home. Penge is where I was born. And it's unrecognisable to me now. And Jazz is right, it's like someone has violated me somehow. My home does not look like it did. I shall take you back here, for it's important to me. It's part of my Crystal Palace trip. I will show you the last canal in the South London. I'll take you to my old house, the oak tree I planted. And I will take you to Chucky's famous bridge, Chunky Mark. I can show you where the old communal pub has now gone. All of them, they're all gone. And we're supposed to be trying to build communities on here. And yet people are confused as fuck. And we'll not take 10 minutes out to think about what they're doing. What they're talking about. What they're saying. Who it affects. I'm sorry, I'm really shaking now, fucking. Thank you.
Hi everybody. So just quickly, Chunky Mark, before I forget. In all the years I've been watching him, I've never turned on a video, even when it's just been released, and not found a minimum of 10 thumbs down. He gets some of the most horrendous comments, and he addresses it occasionally. That doesn't stop him. He doesn't turn them off. He lets other people see and judge for themselves what other people are like. And there are some people in Chunky's comments which are, they're just awful people. If they're real people, they're just awful people that have no empathy, no thought process, or they're paid idiots to be that way. But I admire Chunky for never turning his thumbs off, thumbs up, thumbs down off. Even when more than usual disagree with him, and I'm one of those people who disagree with him. I don't often thumb up or thumb down him. But today I really agree with him, and yet he's still got, when I was at home, 17 thumbs down. I'm sure he'll have a lot more when I get home. I like that he don't turn it off, and I like that he don't block people making old comments. I'll look through it and I can go, yep, I'll recognise you next time. When you turn off your comments and hide your thumbs up and thumbs down, for myself at least, I can't then keep track of these horrible people. Understand? I know people do get horrible comments and they don't like to deal with it. As far as I'm aware, it's quite easy to block and delete individuals and their comments. Oh, I don't know, just rambling. I hope that was recorded. Much love to you all.
About it, and he had laughed in her face, is what I remember that phrase very much, that she said he'd laughed in her face. What made you face is what I remember that phrase very much, that she said he'd laughed in her face. What made you face is what I remember that phrase very much, that she said he'd laughed in her face. What made you
why'd they edit out that smile?
That phrase very much, that she said he'd laughed in her face. What
did you see it?
Face is what I remember that phrase very much, that she said he'd laughed in her face. What
why'd they edit that bit out?
I remember that phrase very much, that she said he'd laughed in her face. What made you believe is what I remember that phrase very much, that she said he'd laughed in her face. What made you believe her? Because I could, you know,
Come on, people.
When people tell you about really traumatic things in their lives, particularly that kind
so this is all second-hand knowledge.
You can tell by so many things about their body language.
Oh, really?
Their eyes. It
was really?
Genuine. It was, you know, I'd have laid my life on it. You know, I knew.
Oh, really? I think you are, love.
I knew it right through to my core. You know.
Oh, really? After Jimmy Saville died, in one of his memorial letters, somebody of rather high importance wrote a rather enigmatic statement. It said, "You will never know what you have done for this country, Mr. Saville." Perhaps he is being used for a purpose. And if he is being used for a purpose, then a good man's name has been tarnished beyond all recognition for all time. Let's say it was the BBC that was set up to fall, but someone realised it got too big to fall, so they needed a scapegoat. Perhaps to take people's attention away from other things, they needed a fucking scapegoat. This is like the only Jimmy Saville whistleblower. There's no survivor testimonies on here. You know, you get all these famous people blowing their tops because of the cover-up. And then you get all these people who say, oh, I'd never suspected. So what are we supposed to believe? Well, that's the fucking point. It's all supposed to be flipped and turned, and you're not supposed to know what's going on. And people are behaving like this is okay. People are behaving like they know the fucking truth. Look at all these fucking, all these assholes, all these thumbs up. And they know nothing. They do not look closely, they do not listen. She tells you that body language means something. And then she smiles as she says that Jimmy Saville laughed in victims' faces, and they edit it out. And now we're supposed to take the word of a man called Johnny Rotten, who spits in people's faces. Something is wrong with it all. No one wants to know. No one seems to care. So I'll keep on making my stupid fucking videos. And I thank the people from the bottom of my heart who do appreciate what it is I'm doing.
I know I'm going to be on the wrong side of the fence for a long while about this one, but I know there's something very wrong with this fucking story, and nobody can see it. Nobody can see it. I can't see anybody anywhere talking about this. There is something very wrong with the Jimmy Saville story. Even to the things like his coffin being buried at a fucking angle and stuff. You understand? Something's very wrong here. No one ever wants to talk about it. People want to talk about each other. What each other said about each other. What each other was wearing the other night.
So, right, obviously the communication started to break down between these two accounts. And I think it happens is because people misunderstand each other and they misunderstand where you're coming from. And I appreciate beyond the veil's comment, but obviously he's reading me wrong and my intentions wrong. But
yeah, I so agree with that, Del. There's way too many of all of us doing that to each other. And I'm sorry to throw you into the mix with all this other stuff I wish to talk about. There is a far deeper mystery at work here, and I'm making no claims to know what it is. But what I do know is that too many are holding on to convictions too tightly without any actual proof, anything to back it up with. And it's not just in the flat earth, it's everywhere. It's everywhere at the minute, with all sorts of, with all topics at the minute. And I mean, here's the deal with Jimmy Saville, right? He was either the dirtiest, cleverest man who ever lived. He managed to go around for decades abusing people, particularly children, and somehow he got away with it, and no one ever knew he was doing it. Just a handful of people. We can say that the British Secret Service, the intelligence agencies, the police force are just fucking useless if they didn't know anything after all those decades. Or we say that they're all complicit and helped him, turned a blind eye. Or we say that there's a deeper purpose for all this, and perhaps one of them is to bring down a hero. And I know people will not like that, and I'm not saying that Jimmy Saville was the hero. Perhaps he was the dark person that everybody makes him out to be. I said to my lady, maybe he was nothing more than the best hypnotist that ever lived. That would be all it would take. Police officer to come knocking on his door, have a little chat and a cup of tea, and see you later. Oh, he's such a nice man, is that Jimmy. Or they allowed a hero to be built up. And to millions he was a hero. He raised so much money for charity. I barely remember him. I barely remember the tune of that Jim Will Fix It. Do you know, I was a big fan of Big Brother for a few years, and the series that he was in, do you know, I completely forgot that he was in it. I remember the Chantel bird that was in it. God, I remember her. But it was like a magic spell had been cast over me, and I completely forgot for years that he was in there. I remember Spencer and everybody else that was in there, but I forgot that that man was in there for some reason. That was when I'll come up with that idea. Did he somehow hypnotise me at home to forget that he was in there? I do not know. But what I do know is I've tried looking for people that had actual contact with this man, had actual... and I know it's morbid, but for looking for people that actually were abused by him and have come out and have said so, and you can't find it.
You find ladies like this and this Denise Welch, another big brother, you know, and Russell Brand and Johnny Rotten. You hear these people bringing the hero down. Well, there's a reason for that. This knocks the morale of the country. You understand? I wonder sometimes about the Manchester airplane crash where the football team died. You know, the hero worship, the bringing the hero down, can knock the nation to its knees, and it shouldn't be like that. Perhaps this man was used to prove a point. To prove a point that you shouldn't have heroes. Either the royal family knew about this man for as long as he was operating, and they let him do it, or he didn't do it. An author I like very much, David Gemmell, writes of this dilemma a couple of times, where he writes a book in the past and one in the future, and in the future what you read in the past has been changed, has been altered, is different. This with these things can change. This can hold a type of memory that somewhere, somehow, will not be able to be altered. Will always be able to be brought back to its original. Whereas a book written falsely 500 years ago remains written falsely 500 years later, and you cannot check what might have been going through that man's mind. But someone can take this and alter all the words into saying something completely different, but one day someone will be able to pull it up and put it in the correct way. Someone will be able to analyse all this in such a way that the truth will not be able to hide. It's getting close, can't you see it? The manipulation of people's emotions, to me, is something Dale wants to turn away from, and it's something for myself we must face head on, because this is the problem facing us all. If we do not get an emotional grip on the nation, we lose. We cannot take emotions away from everybody we know. I may be able to deal with mine better than most, as Dale might be able to, by the looks of things. But just because we can, it doesn't mean other people can. And that's obvious. If this is a lie, look how many people have bought it. Look how many people bought the globe lie. If you are a flat earther and you believe it is flat, look how many people have bought the globe lie. You think that was done just through logic? No, it was done through emotions and feelings and tugging on people's heartstrings, which is what all of this is about. Denise Welch gets angry. Yeah? Broadmoor Saville was a lunatic. These words they emote things in people. And if you think we are going to reach out to people by being logical and clever or even articulate, well, you're wrong. People are not interested in that bullshit anymore. People don't want to go back to school and learn shit anymore. They had the love of learning drummed out of them. Huh? Just a few of us managed to hold on and grasp that last piece of love of learning of all things. Dale, you are an emotional man, and yet you are not allowing yourself to connect with them. You do in your music. I wish you'd do more. I wish you'd put more of that music in the back of your videos. I hate to say it to you and all the other guys. I don't want to see you just standing there playing the guitar, right? But I do want to listen to your music. Put it on behind your words and I will listen for hours on end. I will never go back to this bullshit. This bullshit fakery. I want real people talking real shit, playing the real music they like to liven up their lives. I want to go on and I could go on. I have things to do. I shall return to this. This is something that's played in my mind for a long time. And I do not know the truth of this story either. I do not know the truth of the earth. I do not know the truth of most things, and it vexes me most deeply. And there's my son calling me. Much love, peace and luck to you all. A couple of last things to tie into the numbers thing again. It's imagine how people would feel about this video if this was all turned off, if there were no comments to influence. I'm not asking everyone to just turn their comments on, their thumbs and on and off. And I'm not just saying just turn them all on. The choice is still yours, of course. But if this influences people, as it would if I watched your videos when you have it turned off. Truth Stream Media always has theirs off, and I don't like this. It never influences whether I thumb it up or not, but I do like to have an idea of what other people are thinking. And if I show you Chunky again, Chunky Mark, just quickly. I mean, I'm not sure he ever responds. He may have done once. I don't blame him if he doesn't anymore. But the drivel that gets left on his videos, on his comments, is just... People are just... We're all a bit insane, aren't we? What the fuck? Are we all stupid? We're all contradicting ourselves. At 28 thumbs down. I thumbed this one up. I enjoyed this one off. So 250 comments. Comment number 1: take dark glasses off for 2017 and let people decide for themselves whether or not you are a shill liar. But you know, I don't think he's a shill. I don't think he's a liar. He might get a lot of shit wrong, but just because you get it wrong don't mean you're a shill or a liar. What a baby. And these are the comments he has to put up with all the time, you understand? That's not constructive fucking criticism. I don't care if he's wearing fucking glasses. I make my own mind up about that stuff. I'm not going to live by everything he says. I'm going to jump to his attention when he wants it, am I? That's what grown-ups do, and yet these people in the comments are jumping to someone's attention. The choice is always yours whether you turn your thumbs up and down or off, whatever. But for myself, I like to see them on. For myself, I like to see the comments. I like to try and get an idea of what other people are saying. It's funny, this fella here, Bunny Spangle, what? Some people say, I don't want to go down there. I'll go in. Peace. Alright, so on the 12th I made my little video speaking about Jimmy Saville being a scapegoat of sorts. This is Sargon of Akkad on the 13th, so the day after. So everybody's talking about similar things. Now, I don't mean to be light-hearted about this, but I know that a lot of people are interested in this stuff. And I think personally that these people who are interested in the numerology and stuff can pluck out some good bits of information that other people miss. Now, for some of you with discernible eyes, we'll see already the 33, 666. There are many numbers on this page. Come and watch Sargon of Akkad. This particular one, the reality of child trafficking rings. And for those interested in numerology, this particular page, when you get here, may interest you. For myself, this is just a small part of the bigger picture. But to many people, it will be a blindingly bright piece that they will not be able to take their eyes from. Not in a bad way, but for all good intentions, you understand? People will want to try and stop this and do stuff about it. But like my friend Dan said, this will not bring the system down. This will allow them to get rid of a few scapegoats, probably pre-agreed, contracted, whatever. We must do something about all these things. For myself, at this point in time, there's nothing more we can do than keep talking about these things. Not only sharing the bad stuff, but the good stuff amongst each other. Me and my new friend from across the water from me in Europe, sharing cooking videos with each other, and I'm going to continue to do this. And I know some people might frown upon this, but I will not live in the quagmire of this stuff all the time. Okay, it's hard enough not to think about it, and then when I get the chance not to, I will relish those moments, and so should others. And there are people who are actually suffering. Now, I do have a few problems with Sargon's video, okay? So do not leave me loads of comments telling me everything you think's wrong with it, alright? I'm not saying it's the best video I've ever seen, I'm just saying it's worth coming and watching. For myself, it was worth noting for it being published the day after my little speech, which I didn't publish, for Daniel Pratt today saying something similar. And this is why I keep talking about these things, where it's not about getting credit for saying it first, but when people come to similar conclusions, when they have, me and Dan have no contact really. There's very rare occasional comment to each other. Actually, I don't remember the last time Dan commented on my video. He's replied to me. I've left a comment on the Sargon, but I've never heard from him. He probably had no idea who I am. Okay, but in some ways we all come up with similar things. There's only one problem we'll point out with this video is that victim thing again. Okay, 666 claims relating to institutions. But we've yet to see many of them, and I'm not saying that they should be splashed all over the TV, do you understand? But for myself, I believe that there are some who are willing and would like to step forward and speak up. Perhaps they are the ones who are bumped off quickly. Well, I will keep looking for these survivors. It's not so much that yes, in some ways I'd like to get to know them. I don't want to sit down and ask them to spill their beans and tell me everything that happened to them, but to know that, let them know that, you know, they're not alone. When I watch videos like this and Dan's and other people's, I know I'm not alone. You understand? Even if we're all not connected, know that there are others that share your thoughts, if not all of them. Okay. I don't know how this is going to come out, but much love, peace and luck to you.
So now all of a sudden we've got this fake news cycle. What would be the one topic that would make these people expose their depravity and their child molesting, child trafficking bullshit in another orchestrated rollout psyop to get people to talk about anything but this fucking flat earth anymore? Why is that? Well, because, see, for pedophilia and child trafficking and all that, they can have scapegoats. That doesn't bring down the whole system again. And
brings the people down.
When the truth that we don't live on this ball spinning through space, that there is no threat from space that they try to scare us with on a weekly basis, they can still have scapegoats for the pedophilia and that. They can have fall guys. They will gladly throw their people under the bus to save the overall system, the overall control grid.
You can decide yourself whether you think it's coincidence or whether me and Dan have come to similar conclusions about certain things. Whether we've been led up the garden path and we're completely wrong.
It's not that the paedophilia is not happening. But that Dan's right, it won't bring the system to its knees. Just the people. Just the people. The system will carry on regardless. And then in 20 years it will be riddled with pedophiles again. Scapegoats. Okay, so lightheartedness. Now I don't mean to make lightheartedness of this, the topic that follows. However, there is something odd there, isn't there? Just happens to be there. And this is not the bit I wanted to talk about. For those that follow my channel might know that I've been watching recently Prisoner Cell Block H. Couple of numbers. 33,000 views. This episode's on for 33. I had an idea, maybe other people have had it, and I'll share it when you watch this, that somehow Jimmy Saville was some type of hypnotist.
And your mates. This is your last chance, Cass. You must do it today. You must kill. Today.
I must do it today.
Just another one of my weird little coinkydinks.
I must kill today.
I wonder, do you see that lick of the lips? I wonder, when people are hypnotised, do they lick their lips a lot? I really don't mean to make fun of or light of all this. It's a heavy topic. It is one I'd like to discuss more with people. Even if I'm completely wrong and there are hundreds of thousands of survivors out there and they are making videos and I just haven't seen them. If you have and you can share them, please leave a link and I will go and check them out. I'll tell you, I have an eagle eye. I have an eagle eye. I do not need Russian vids and people like them to show me these things, though I know other people do. Subliminal messaging, coinkydinks, and things far more serious. Peace and luck. Much love to you all. I just need to add on a couple of things. So as I'm editing it, I'll be listening and I'll try and just add these little bits in quickly at the beginning. It might not make sense at the beginning, maybe I'll add them on at the end. First-hand evidence, second-hand evidence, primary witnesses and second-hand testimonies, they're all important, you understand? And in many ways I would like to reach out to anyone that feels the need to talk privately about these things. You can find my email, a private email address on my about page, on my home page. And for myself, I honestly believe that people do want to talk about these things. They don't want to keep them hidden away. But there is very few people who are willing to listen to these things. If Miss Kim watches this, I know you would also be one of those people, I think, who would be willing to listen to these poor people. I think for so long they felt they had no one to speak to, and I may not always speak the way I type, but that's only because nobody else talks like that. I would like to talk as I type, and if I can reach out to people with my typing, with my thoughts, then I will do so, gladly, willingly. But like I say, with this first-hand evidence, second-hand evidence and things, there's very few people out there that are making videos saying, yes, I was abused, and I want to talk about it. We need to expose this and stop it from ever happening again. And the only way to do this with any of these subjects that I talk about in the next couple of videos is to bring it out in the open. However uncomfortable it is, someone has to make the first step about these things, and I'm not making the first step, but I am making another step, and I encourage others to do the same, please. To find the truth of these things, whatever they are. So, a little Google Doodle today. Should we see where it goes? Very cute. Yeah, there's like a swastika there. What to make of it, if anything.
How you doing? What? You clicked on me, I didn't click on you! You idiot! Get out!
Yeah, the world's full of angry people. I can't believe that people, how they flip out now.